Walz says Democrats hate success.
We as Democrats, we want people to pay their fair share, but why are we against people being successful like that? We can't be. Why are we against? We should talk about businesses. Not all businesses exploit their workers, and we get ourselves stuck in that.
Oh, well,
and I think we lose them.
Get a room. Oh, wait, they were in a room.
Greg Gutfeld didn't just roast Tim Walz, he incinerated him like an unwanted microwave burrito left to explode. Walz, the political glitch who manages to look smug, clueless, and oddly proud of both, grins like he's announcing lottery winnings while running Minnesota like a busted IKEA cabinet duct taped together with regret.
To stop it. And when it's a child, you talk to them and you tell them why bullying's wrong. But when it's adult like Donald Trump, you bully the out of him back. This is a weak, cruel man that takes it out and punches down on people.
Wow. Oh.
Before moving on, hit that like and subscribe because this was brutal. Gutfeld went in with surgical precision and the glee of a comic feeding a bloodthirsty crowd. Walz has perfected mediocrity, not spectacularly incompetent, not remotely inspiring, just floating in the grey zone where nothing feels steady but everything somehow gets worse. Minnesota under his watch looks like a beta test no one asked for, with policies rolled out half-baked. Gutfeld turned that mess into punchline after punchline.
It's amazing it's amazing how they operate one way when they're running, and then when they lose and get humiliated, all of a sudden they have these solutions, and they're all the things they're telling you to do. Like, why are you trying to trash one of the most successful companies in the world, you moron?
On the economy, Gutfeld compared Walz's leadership to a science experiment where the citizens are the lab rats, except none of them volunteered. Taxes. Like squeezing blood from a stone, with Walz insisting the stone should be grateful. Public safety. Less law and order, more law and disorder, with crime rising while Walz brags about hollow community trust programs. Gutfeld shredded him for celebrating achievements that either don't exist or matter as little as diet soda politics.
The tampon king gets back in the ring. I speak of former VP nominee Tim Walz. He joined Beto O'Rourke at a Texas town hall last night, and the estrogen levels were enough to give Chuck Norris menstrual cramps. I wonder, is our strength our diversity?
Our strength is our diversity. We've been talking about this for years as a country of immigrants, and we let them define the issue on immigration.
But Gutfeld didn't stop at policy, he tore into Walz's persona. That painfully rehearsed folksy dad act he wheels out like it's still campaign season. He's the barbecue dad who burns the burgers, drops the potato salad, and blames the neighbor's kid for the fire. Gutfeld nailed it. Walz lectures others on responsibility while his own house collapses. The guy wants credit for effort while the scoreboard is nothing but losses.
Kennedy, I like it. Like, what a better way to show their opposition to successful people than making him VP. He's the best example of failing up.
Yeah, and he didn't even do good at failing up because he helped tank the ticket and she lost the race because it showed. Like, Tim Walz is the best example for why Kamala Harris has the worst political instincts in the Democrat Party.
Take crime. Even as stats in Minneapolis and other cities made national news, Walz strutted around like everything was fine, the political version of whistling past a graveyard. Gutfeld turned that denial into gold. To Walz, rising crime is just a bad Yelp review you fix with a press release. Citizens feel less like they're living in a state and more like contestants on Survivor, Minneapolis.
Tim Walz vomits more nonsense.
I called Donald Trump a wannabe dictator. It's because he is. It's because he is. Maybe it's time for us to be a little more fierce. Because we have to ferociously push back on this. The thing that bothers a teacher more than anything is to watch a bully.
And then came the hypocrisy. Walz plays man of the people while pushing policies that sound like they were drafted at a wine bar between organic farming tips and boutique yoga chatter. Gutfeld torched him for talking like a trucker but governing like a philosophy major who just discovered Marx in a used bookstore. Minnesota under Walz feels like a classroom with no lessons learned, lots of worksheets, no progress.
Is he talking?
It really is the ultimate clown show. And I said this in the 5. He's a clown without a circus. He's
doesn't even need makeup.
He's roaming the terrain. Is there some carnival that I could work for? I'll wash your windows.
He's a rogue clown.
Yes.
Who is just an inconsequential footnote to vice presidential history.
Yes.
No one will remember his name on trivia night, and that's going to be in 3 months from now.
Yes.
Walz's real superpower? Dodging responsibility. Gutfeld pointed out how every failure, economy, crime, pandemic, comes with a ready excuse. He's like a magician pulling endless distractions from a hat, except the trick never lands. And when Walz flirts with national ambitions, it's laughable. A little league coach declaring he's ready to manage the Yankees. Nobody's buying it.
Find the issue on DEI, and we let them define what woke is. We got ourselves in this mess because we weren't bold enough to stand up and say, you damn right we're proud of these policies. We're going to put them in, and we're going to execute them.
So, wait, you lost because you weren't...
What made Gutfeld's roast lethal was its honesty. He didn't invent flaws, he just exaggerated what everyone already sees. Walz has a unique talent for making problems worse while insisting they're getting better. If he says things are improving, brace for disaster. Optics are his specialty, but optics don't fill potholes or balance budgets. Minnesotans, stuck with the consequences, know it best.
Because, it's like you always have to go somewhat lower than the person that's, like Biden was picked by Obama, Kamala picked by Biden, and then he was picked by Kamala. What could he pick?
Yeah.
Like a jar of sweet pickles.
And by the way, in terms of this guy's failures, if he wants to see what real men, what masculine leaders do, he should look at the cops, that he constantly derides,
right,
who had to save his biggest city, Minneapolis and St. Paul, during the riots.
By the halfway point, Gutfeld had reduced Walz to a caricature: the bumbling leader, the substitute teacher, the clueless barbecue dad, the wine bar philosopher. Each image stuck because it was true. People once hoped Walz would deliver. Years later, all that's left is dust, excuses, and regret. He isn't a leader, he's a broken appliance taking up space.
Walz also seemed to doubt the validity of the last election and future ones.
They've released analyses of election data out of Clark County, Nevada, that show some pretty convincing evidence of election tampering. So what can we do to make sure, A, that the midterms actually happen, and B, that they're free of fraud?
Yeah, this one's a core. We saw just recently Donald Trump's executive order to make it more difficult, specifically to women, trying to make it more difficult for women to be able to vote.
The more Walz tries stepping onto the national stage, the more he looks like an over-rehearsed high school actor forgetting his lines but still bowing. Gutfeld exposed him as the mascot of mediocrity. Walz isn't dangerous or powerful, he's forgettable. He's the gluten-free menu item that still tastes like cardboard. Walz is cardboard politics, bland, unnecessary, and offered only because there's nothing better.
Politico lingers on candidates' fingers and defend Walz's wide eyes as they claim beards are for bad guys. Tyler, speaking of beards, and I mean the one on your face, not the one that you hang out with.
Is it the shirt?
Yeah, it's the shirt.
The funniest part: watching his allies pretend he's a secret weapon. A secret weapon as useful as a flat tire. Every speech feels like a mandatory orientation seminar. He's not even a villain worth opposing, his political elevator music. Gutfeld nailed it. Walz is the kind of guy who orders mild salsa and apologizes for its spice. The human microwave dinner, processed, quick, and instantly forgettable.
Tim Walz continues to be criticized for embellishing his rank and service. After it came out over the weekend, he once claimed to be an official bikini inspector. Walz's direct superior in the National Guard says Walz knew his unit was about to deploy to Iraq and went behind the back of his superior officer to resign. When reached for comment, Walz yelled, "Hey, look over there!" and then ran away.
And yet, the establishment props him up like a broken lawn chair they can't throw away. Not because he's good for the people, but because he's safe for the elites. Here's the "are you still watching" default option of politics. Supporting Walz is like trying to hype oatmeal. No flavor, No crunch, just lukewarm mush. Every promise sounds like an HR email, polished, empty, and deleted on arrival. Clip 13.
We see one of the first things they do is try and restrict the vote.
Wait, so Trump is making it more difficult for women to vote? How so? Math problems? But it's further proof that the most dangerous thing for a leftist is a follow-up question, which is why you never hear any. But I guess questioning elections is okay now. But the best moment came when Walz forgot who.
Walz isn't a politician to be debated, he's one to be endured. Endurance isn't leadership, it's just running out the clock. That's why Gutfeld's takedown landed so hard, it said what everyone else tiptoes around. Walz is dead weight, the group project slacker who adds nothing but still signs his name on top. Watching him try to build momentum is like watching someone push a car uphill with no gas, no tires, and no clue.
Some hack at Politico writes this piece on the body language from the debate, claiming that it speaks volumes. Yeah, it says that Walz lost, but one of them at Politico says is like Walz's wide eyes showed his passion and emotional intensity. Can we show that? There is his wide eyes.
Gutfeld's roast wasn't just funny, it was surgical. He didn't mock Walz for being extreme, but for being ordinary, for dressing up mediocrity as vision. He ripped Walz's reputation like a cheap air mattress. Suddenly all the hot air was gone, leaving nothing but a flat, useless mess. Walz isn't just bland, he's aggressively bland. If mayonnaise ran for office, it would sue him for copyright infringement.
Meanwhile, Kamala's VP, Tim Walz, is being accused of lying about his rank, which is called stolen valor. But in Walz's defense in Minneapolis, stealing is legal. But misrepresenting your past for political gain? I don't see that as a problem, said one woman.
What makes it worse is Walz's attempt to play the tough, decisive leader. He puffs his chest, lowers his voice, but folds faster than origami at a kid's birthday party. Gutfeld showed him for what he is, a man who thrives only when nothing's at stake, yet somehow still manages to fail. Minnesota under Walz has been a circus of indecision, half-baked policies, and hollow posturing. And now, the curtain's ripped away. Behind it isn't a misunderstood visionary, just a man who built a career bluffing competence. Gutfeld didn't just roast him, he obliterated the illusion that there was ever anything there to begin with.